Okay, so we have completed some topics based on walks, paths, trails, circuits, cycles, connectedness, components, then again revisiting the bipartite graphs. So now we'll start with a new chapter, something called as matrix representation of a graph. Okay, so matrix representation of a graph. Now, there are many algorithms which will be used to find the shortest path in a graph. Like basically, when I will talk about, like, see, from a vertex u to a vertex v, there can be many paths. Okay, there can be many paths from vertex u to vertex v. So among all those paths, we'll be interested in the one which is shortest. Shortest in the sense consisting of less number of edges. Okay. So there are many algorithms which we'll be using to find the shortest paths. And we write a computer program for that. Okay, especially the computer science students, what they will do, they will write a computer program for that, because if the graph has too many vertices and too many edges, so to do that algorithms manually with hand will be very much difficult for us. So we will make a computer program for that. But how to store a graph in a computer? We can draw like this here, right? We can draw a graph, but that drawing is not possible while doing the programs. So how will I store a graph in computers, in computer programs? By using some matrices. Okay, so this is why matrix representation of a graph is important. So let's see what are the possible ways, or how can we represent a graph by the help of a matrix. So the first matrix that we use is called as adjacency matrix or adjacency matrix. And this is the first matrix that we use to represent a graph. Okay, so let's see what this matrix is, what this matrix exactly is. So let G be a graph with n vertices. Obviously, I'm assuming that n is greater or equals to 1. There are more than one vertices. Stop. Now, so there are n vertices. I will fix the order of the vertices. Suppose I am naming them like this. The naming depends upon me. So suppose I am named them v1, v2, vn. So I have named the vertices v1 to vn. The adjacency matrix with respect to, okay, I'll denote the adjacency matrix by E, okay, and the name of the graph is, I will write here in subscript. Most of the authors will also write A bracket G, that also can be used according to a different notation. So the adjacency matrix AG with respect to a particular listing v1, v2, vn of the vertices of G is a n cross n matrix. Is a n cross n matrix Aij. So the elements of the matrix are denoted by Aij, such that what is Aij? Aij is number of edges from Vi to Vj. This is what the matrix will represent, or this will how we will make the matrix. So try to understand the definition of the adjacency matrix. So I have some graph G having n vertices. Suppose I have named the vertices as v1, v2, vn. The adjacency matrix will depend on the particular listing. That means I am finding out the adjacency matrix with respect to the ordering v1, v2, vn. Suppose you want to find the adjacency matrix with respect to some another ordering. That means you are finding with respect to v2, v1, v4, v3 and so on. That time the adjacency matrix will change. The graph will not change, the representation will change, the matrix representation. So you have to choose a particular listing according to you. So I am choosing this listing. Then what does the Aij element will represent? The Aij element of this matrix will represent the number of edges from Vi to Vj. So from ith vertex to jth vertex, how many edges are there? A similar definition will hold for a digraph or directed graphs. So I'll show you some examples of adjacency matrix. If you have any confusion regarding the definition, please ask. So few things are very obvious. The elements Aij of the matrix can never be negative, because I am talking about the number of edges, which is definitely either 0 or more than 0. So this matrix is a matrix based on the set of non-negative integers. It cannot be, no entry can be negative. That is very obvious from the definition itself. So all these things you may write as a note. So let's see some examples. Suppose I have this graph G. I have summed this graph G. Suppose I name the vertices v1, v2, v3, v4, v5, v6. I have some graph G like this, having 6 vertices. So let's write down the adjacency matrix for this graph. So the adjacency matrix AG with respect to the ordering of vertices, so ordering will depend upon us. Suppose I am taking in this order v1, v2, v3, v4. You may take a different order, doesn't matter, v5, v6. So I will find out the adjacency matrix with respect to the ordering. This is given by or given as anything, this. So AG is a 6 by 6 matrix, because what did I write? It was an n by n matrix for n vertices. So here are 6 vertices, so it will be a 6 by 6 matrix. So v1 we write like this, v2, you may even drop this if you don't want to write, v4, v5, v6, v1, v2, v3. This is just for understanding, v5, v6. So number of edges from v1 to v1. How many edges are there from v1 to v1? 0. So this will be just 0. Number of edges from v1 to v2. How many edges are there from v1 to v2? Just 1 edge. Number of edges from v1 to v6 v3. It is not there, 0. Number of edges from v1 to v4, not there, 0. Number of edges from v1 to v5, 1. Number of edges from v1 to v6, 1. Done. Let's go for this one. So what I'll do, now I'll jump some steps. So v2 has a vertex from v1 to v2 to vertex has 1, and v2 to v3 has 1, and rest all are 0. Next, v3, it has a vertex, it has an edge. Number of edges from v3 to v2 is 1, and v3 to v4 is 1, and V3 to V6 is 1 and no other are there, rest all are 0. And in this manner you can find out this matrix. So let's find out V4. So V4 is adjacent to V5 and V3. So the term adjacent here stands for adjacency matrix. Okay, so V4 is adjacent to V5. So here 1, just a minute. V4 is adjacent to V5, V4 is adjacent to V3, and rest all are 0. Right? And lastly, complete the last two. V5 is adjacent to V4 and V1 and V6, and rest all are 0. And the last one, the last row is V6 is adjacent to V5, V3 and V1, rest all are 0. So this 6 by 6 matrix is the adjacency matrix of the given graph. So did you understand how to draw the adjacency matrix of a given graph? Now let's consider a graph. Let's consider a graph which is a multi graph. That means suppose I'm naming the graph as H, and suppose the graph has some loops. There's a loop here. There is like this here. There's a loop here. And suppose V1, V2, V3, V4. So let's draw the adjacency matrix of this graph. So it is a 4 by 4 matrix for sure. The adjacency C matrix. So AH, hold on, okay, just a minute. Yes, sorry. So the adjacency matrix AH with respect to the listing V1, I am taking this listing, you may take a different listing, doesn't matter. 4 of the vertices is this. So A H, you can also write A in bracket H, that is also allowed. It will be a 4 by 4 matrix. So V1, V2, V3, and here also V1, V2, V3. So let's see what happens. So is there a H from V1 to V1? No. So it is 0. V1 to V2, yes. How many edges? 1 edge, right? V1 to V3, 1 edge. V1 to V4, 1 edge. Okay. Let's go to V2. Let's go to V2. So V2 to V1, yes, 1 edge. As you can see, V2 to V1 is there is 1 edge. V2 to V2, yes, there is 1 edge, the loop. So here it will be 1. Okay, V2 to V2, there is a edge 1. V2 to V3, V2 to V3, there are 2 edges. So number of edges is 2. And V2 to V4, no edges, so 0. Okay, V3. So V3 to V1 is 1. V3 to V2, again 2 edges. V3 to V3 0, and V3 to V4 1. And lastly for V4, it is V4 to V4, V4 to V1 1, V4 to this 0, V4 to V3 is 1, and V4 to V4 a loop, so 1. So this is the graph of this this is the matrix for this digraph, for this multiple graphs. Okay. So I hope you understand this, what I am teaching you, right? So if you all see very carefully, both the matrices which I wrote were symmetric. You see, this matrix is a symmetric matrix, right? The first row is same as first column, second row is same as second column, and so on. And similarly, the last one also, it was also a symmetric matrix. It was also a symmetric matrix. You may check, right? Because this is same as its transpose. So is it always true that any symmetric matrix having like what I mean to say is that the adjacency matrix of any multigraph or simple graph is always a symmetric matrix. Is always a symmetric matrix. So note AG is always a symmetric matrix. Matrix for any multigraph or simple graph G. Multigraph, if it is true for multigraph, it will be true for simple graph also. For any multigraph G. Okay. So let's try to draw the adjacency graph or adjacency matrix for the digraph. Okay. So suppose I have some digraph G dashed, which is like this. So there are some directions available. So let's try to draw the adjacency matrix for this digraph. So definition changes a bit. So not basically changes, just instead of edges you have to write the arcs. So with respect to the listing, all those things are right. So I have the listing V1, V2, V3, V1, V2, V3. Okay. Now V1 to V1 0, V1 to V2, V1 to V2 1, because number of edges, number of arcs from V1 to V2 is 1. Number of edges from V1 to V3 is again 1. Okay. Number of arcs from V2 to V1 is 0, because direction will matter here. There are no arcs from V2 to V1. So 0. V2 to V3 0, because both the directions are this way, and V2 to V2 to V2 0 and V2 to V3 is also 0. And lastly, for V3 to V1 it is again 0. For V3 to V2 it is 2, and V3 to V3 is 0. So this is the digraph, this is the adjacency matrix for some digraph. Okay. So what you note here, this time the adjacency matrix may not be symmetric. You can check, this is not a symmetric matrix. It's not symmetric. So for a digraph, the adjacency matrix may not be symmetric, but for multiple graph or simple graph, okay, it will be always symmetric. Okay. Now few more things that you should note here. If my graph has no loops, then the diagonal will be 0, because there are no edges from V1 to V1, no edges from V2 to V2. So when my graph has no loops, there will be 0 in the diagonal. And if there are no parallel edges, then all the entries will be 1. You can see. But if my graph contains a loop, then there may be some elements some entries 1 in the diagonal, as you can see. So this one will stand for, there is a loop at V2 and there is a loop at V4. And if there are some 2, 3, 4 entries, that means there are some parallel edges from this vertex to this vertex. Okay. Now we might think that, suppose if I give you any symmetric matrix with non-negative entries. Suppose if I give you any symmetric matrix with non-negative entries. Okay, so suppose I'm giving you 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay, I'll draw for 5 vertices, and it is 2, 1, 0, 0, 1. It is 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 1, I should take more, 1, 1, 0, 2, 3, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. So I have given a symmetric matrix of order 5 by 5. So will there always exist a graph whose adjacency matrix will be A? So the question is, does there exist a graph G such that the adjacency matrix of G is same as this matrix A? So there is a question. So the question is, given any symmetric matrix having non-negative entries, see, if the entries are negative, that cannot represent adjacency matrix. So I am assuming that this symmetric matrix is having non-negative entries. So given any symmetric matrix over the set of non-negative integers, will there always correspond a graph whose adjacency matrix is same as A? The answer is yes. Okay, so how can we draw this graph? You give any listing. Now try to draw this graph. So you can write any 5 vertices V1 anywhere you like, V2. Suppose I am writing here V3, it is V4 and it is V5. Now try to draw the graph. How? V1 to V1, there is a loop because there is an entry 1. So you draw a loop at V1. Okay, right? I am drawing a loop at V1. Next, V1 to V2, no edges. Okay, V1 to V3, no edges. V1 to V4, one edge. So V1 to V4, one edge, as you can see. And V1 to V5, 0, no need to draw. So this is what? V2 is V2 to V1. There are two edges. So V2 to V, okay. So sorry. The matrix should be symmetric first of all. Okay, I did not draw a symmetric matrix. Hold on, please. This is just, I need to rectify that. It's completely rectified. Okay, basically the matrix must be symmetric. No, I just took this like that. That will not be possible because the matrix what I want must be symmetric because I am drawing a simple graph. Yeah, there corresponds a digraph with respect to this matrix, but that you can do it by yourself. I am first showing you for a simple graph. So the question still remains same, that does there exist a graph whose adjacency matrix is same as this matrix? Yeah. So what we do? We give some particular listing to the matrix like this, and let's do. So this is same. Now go to V2, V2 to V1 0, V2 to V2 2. That means there are two loops at V2, one loop and another loop. There are two loops at V2, V2 to V3 1. You can draw it, right? Then V2 to V4 0. Okay, and V2 to V5 0. Okay, V3 to V1 0, V3 to V2 is 1. It's already drawn. V3 to V3 0, no need to draw anything. V3 to V4 1 and V3 to V5 is 2. It's 2. So there are two parallel edges like this. Okay, this is not a vertex, it's just intersection or nothing else. Okay, and what is this? V4 these are already drawn. So V4 to V4 0, V4 to V5 is 3. So V4 to V5 there are three parallel edges. So like this, and like this. One more, 3, and yeah, and all rest are drawn. You may check. So this is the graph whose adjacency matrix is same as the given matrix. So did you understand the idea how to draw a graph if its adjacency matrix is given? So similarly, given any matrix which I had drawn in the beginning, so given any matrix which may not be symmetric in general, there always corresponds a digraph. So if the matrix is symmetric, and there always corresponds a multiple graph. And if the entries are, if the diagonal entries are all 0 and all entries are 1, that means there will exist a simple graph. And if the matrix is not symmetric, there always corresponds a digraph corresponding to that adjacency matrix. Okay, now we studied about adjacency matrix. What are some important properties that can be determined from the adjacency matrix? That means, what are the special properties or some interesting properties that can be determined from the adjacency matrix? So let's see that. So for that, let's draw a graph and write this adjacency matrix. So give me a minute. So let me draw a graph. So the graph is like this. The graph is like this. Yes. Draw this graph. Okay. So V1, V2, V3, V4. So very quickly determine the adjacency matrix of this graph G. Very quickly draw the adjacency matrix of this graph G. Okay, so consider this graph, and I have drawn the adjacency matrix for this graph. Okay, and with respect to the listing V1, V2, V3, V4, that means here is V1, V2, V3, V4, V1, V2, V3, V4. So that I am not writing. If you want, you may write. Now look at the entry. Let me write it down. V1, V2, V3, V4. Okay. Now this adjacency matrix gives us a very nice property related to this graph G. We'll see what. So look at this entry. So the entry A12. The entry A12. This is 2. A12 is 2. And let's see how many walks of length 1. How many walks of length 1 can you find in this graph? So there are only 2 walks. One is this, having length 1. That means the number of edges involved in that walk is 1. And this one. And you see, this is also 2. So what does AI2 stands for? It is giving us the number of walks from V1 to V2. Similarly, A13 is 1. So what is this giving us? There is only one walk from V1 to V3. Let's see. Yes, there is only one possible walk of length 1 from V1 to V3. And similarly for other vertices. Now let's find the square. Let's find the square of this matrix. That means AG square. So by matrix multiplication, AG square stands for AG into AG, right? So this is your task. Please multiply AG with AG and tell me what are the entries that are coming. Be very quick. Please multiply AG with AG and tell me what are the entries that are coming. So if you multiply AG with AG, that means you are using the matrix multiplication, you will get something like this: 5, 1, 2, 2, 1, 6, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, and 2, 1, 1. Okay, you might check. Okay, I'm not going into details. Now, this is again very interesting. So here the entry A12 is 1. That means there is exactly one walk of length 2. There is only one walk from length 2 from first vertex to the second vertex. Okay, you can check which is the walk of length 2 from first vertex to second vertex. Only this walk is possible. Can you find any other walk whose length is 2 and from V1 to V3? Can you find? Only this walk is possible whose length is 2, 1 and then 2. And no other walks are possible from V1 to V2 whose length is 2. And this is again given by this entry. Is very interesting. Similarly, let's see this. A23 is 2. That means this says that there are exactly 2 walks possible of length 2 from second vertex to the third vertex. Let's see. So this matrix is giving us 2, A23. Let's see. So A23, that means from vertex 2 to vertex 3, there is exactly two walks possible. You can see like this. One is this, 1 and 2 to reach V3, and another is this. So what we are seeing, the entries of this matrix is matching us with the walks. That means this matrix is giving us the number of distinct walks from a particular vertex to some another vertex. For example, if this is 5, that means there are 5 possible walks, 5 distinct walks of length 2 from first vertex to the first vertex. That is closed walk. You may check. You can write all those things, that will take a lot of time, whose length are 2. So 1 is this. And there will be 5 that is guaranteed by this. You can check. Okay, from V1 to V1. Okay, of length 2. Of length 2. Okay, so did you get my point? If you want to see this, I can write the walks. Don't worry. So this is not a coincidence, but this is guaranteed by a theorem. Okay, so what is the theorem? Let me write down the theorem. Okay, so this theorem will help us to count the number of possible walks from one vertex to another vertex of particular length. Suppose you want walks of length 5, you have to multiply this matrix 5 times, so a to the power 5. So the entries of that matrix will determine the number of walks from distinct walks from one vertex to another vertex. So let me read the theorem. So let G be a graph having n vertices v1, v2, vn, and let A denote the adjacency matrix of this graph with respect to the listing v1, v2, vn. Let AK denote the matrix multiplication, like multiplication of AK times. Multiplication of AK times using the definition of matrix multiplication. And suppose the element of this matrix I am denoting by Bij. Then what will Bij stand for? Bij denotes the number of distinct walks of length k. This power, okay. Suppose if you want to find a walks of length 4, then you have to multiply the adjacency matrix 4 times, and the element Bij of that matrix will denote the number of distinct walks of length 4 from any vertex to any another vertex. Did you get my point? So this all are of length 2. Why of length 2? Because this I am taking square. So number of distinct walks from V1 to V3 is 2. Number of distinct walks from V3 to V3 is 2, and so on. Am I clear or not clear? Okay, so I will keep the proof of this theorem as an exercise. It requires induction. The proof is simple enough. It requires simply induction. So I will send you the proof. You go through the proof. If you do not understand, if you stuck anywhere, please ask me. Okay, but I will not do the proof of this theorem at this moment. You please do it. If you face any problem, you please ask me. Okay. So this is why adjacency matrix is important. Firstly, it will help us to store the matrix while doing some computer programs, and secondly, this matrix can also be very useful for determining the number of walks of particular length from some vertex to some another vertex or to the same vertex. So suppose if I give you any graph, if I give you any graph like this, and if I ask you find the number of distinct walks from V1 to V4. So what will you do? You'll first write the adjacency matrix of that graph. Because they have asked us for length 3, so you first determine a to the power 3, that is a cube. That means a into a into a. You determine that using the concept of matrix multiplication. Then the element B14, that means I have asked from V1 to V4. So then the element V1 to V4 will denote the number of distinct walks from V1 to V4 of length 3. Did you understand completely? Yes, sir. Okay. So another matrix that we use to represent graph is called as the incidence matrix. I will do this very quickly. This is not that important. Incidence matrix. I'll take maybe more 5 minutes if you don't mind. So incidence matrix. So what is the graph? What is the definition of an incidence matrix? So let G be a graph with n vertices, v1, v2, vn. Okay, full stop. Where n is definitely greater or equals to 1, and this graph has got m edges. So this time we are taking edges into consideration while drawing the graph. Okay, the incidence matrix Ig with respect to the ordering v1, v2, vn and e1. So here both the ordering will be essential. In the last one we were not taking edges into consideration. The matrix completely depends the order of the matrix depends upon the vertices, number of vertices only. The matrix was n by n if there are n vertices. Okay, but in general, so the incident matrix is defined with the help of vertices as well as edges. So the incident matrix with respect to the ordering v1 to vn and e1 to en is a n cross m. So here the order is changing. So order depends on the number of vertices and on the number of edges as well. N cross m matrix Aij such that, so how to determine the elements Aij is very simple. So what is Aij? It is like this. It is 0 if Vi is not n vertex of Ej. It is 1 if Vi is a n vertex of Ej, and it is 2 if Ej is a loop at Vi. Don't worry, what I have written you will understand everything. Let me give you an example of the incident matrix. look at this example, okay, and you will understand. Let me very quickly draw the graph. Suppose I have this graph. Suppose I have this graph. Let me give the vertices a name. So I am giving like this: V1, V2, V3 and V4. Okay, and let me give the edges also this time the names. So in the last one, edges, the name to the edges are not important. Here it is important. So E1, E2, E3, E4 and E5. So let's draw the incidence matrix with respect to the listing V1, V2, V3, V4 and E1, E2, E3, E4, E5. So what is the matrix IG for this graph? If the name of the graph is G, so for this graph G, how do you draw? So you write like this. So here you write down the vertices V1, V2, V3, V4. And here are the edges E1, E2, E3, E4, E5. So you see the first thing that comes here, the incident matrix may not be always square matrix. The incident matrix may not be always square. You see there are 4 vertices and 5 edges. So this is not a square matrix. The order is, how many rows are there? 4, 4 cross 5. So vertices cross the number of edges. So the first difference is that the adjacency matrix is always square and its order depends upon only the number of vertices. But the incident matrix in general may be square, may be rectangular. Now look at the definition. Is V1 the n, one of the n vertices of E1? The answer is yes. Right? V1 is one of the n vertices. That means E1 is adjacent to V1. So here 1, and E1 is also adjacent to V2. So here also 1, and E1 is not adjacent to any other vertices. So 0, 0. This is how we draw the diagram, okay, or draw the matrix. E1 is adjacent to V1, that is what it is written. If it is the n vertex of the edge, it is 1, otherwise it is 0. Similarly, look at E2. E2 is a loop. So E2 is a loop, that means that entry will be 2. So at 2 here, E2 is a loop at V2, so here the entry will be 2 and rest all are 0. E2 has nothing to do with any other things. Next, E3. E3 is the n vertex for V2 and V3. So E3 is the n vertex of V2 and V3. So here 1, and E3 is not adjacent to V1 or V4. So here 0, here 0. Are you understanding my point?
Yes, sir.
Everyone, right? Look at E4.
Yes.
Okay, good. E4, look at E4. E4 is adjacent to V3 and V4. So here 1, it will be 0. And lastly, E5 is adjacent to V1 and V3. So V1 and V3 and rest is 0, 0. Okay. So this is the incidence matrix. So few things to note from the incidence matrix. It may not be always a square matrix because it will depend upon the number of edges and the number of vertices. If they are not same, then the incidence matrix may not be a square matrix. Secondly, we cannot talk about the symmetricity or other properties because it may not be square all the time. So the matrix multiplication may not be defined. Okay, or may not be defined if it is rectangular. And so incidence matrix is not that important to us. One thing is interesting here. The sum of all the rows will give you the vertex or degree of a particular vertex. Like what is the sum of the first row? It is 2. So the degree of the first vertex is 2. The sum of all the vertices, the sum of all the entries in the row 2 is 4. So degree of V2 is 4. 1, 2, and loop comprises gives 2 to the degree. So 4. Add this 3, degree of V3 is 3. Add them 4, degree of V4 is 1. So just you can take that of that, take note of this. The sum of ith row gives the degree of Vi. So this is one use of the incident matrix. If the incident matrix is given to you, you can determine the degree of any vortex by summing the elements in the rows. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So one last thing I'll speak about, like given a incident matrix, you can always draw a graph. Suppose I give you this matrix and I'm telling you that this is the incident matrix. So you can try to draw a graph from this matrix. Okay. If I give you this, you can draw a graph. Very easy. Mark this one, and draw the edges accordingly. So there is an edge V1 which is incident to V1 and V2. So you draw an edge here. E2 has here 2, that means there is a loop. So given an incident matrix, you can also retrace the graph back. So this is all about incident matrix and no other results that we'll be doing based on incident matrix. Okay, so this is all about the matrix representation of a graph. I will not do any other things from the matrix representation. I'll give you some exercises to do, like given an adjacency matrix, draw the graph, given an incident matrix, draw a graph, and there are many other exercises that is to be done. So that's all for today, and that's complete the chapter matrices, like a matrix representation of a graph. Thank you.